Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and today we're checking out the Ride1Up 500 series. Now the 500 series has been out for some time, but only recently did they release Step-thru variation, so I wanted to check it out. As always, if you're looking to purchase a Ride1Up electric bike, please consider using the link in the description, as that helps me continue to make videos like this one. So let's get to it. The Ride1Up 500 series is priced at $11.95, but for $80 more you can add a rack and fenders. I have now tested 3 of the electric bikes offered by Ride1Up, including the limited at $17.95 and the affordable Core 5 at $10.95. I'll highlight how this bike differs from the other Ride1Up models throughout the video. The short of it is that the 500 series should be high on the list of anyone looking to get a decent e-bike without spending $1,500 or even more. The reality is that there are much more subtle differences between this e-bike and those priced much higher. And don't let the snow fool you, this is not a made-for-winter e-bike, though of course you could add studded tires to enhance your winter fun. Alright, so let's get to the walk around, and we will start here at the front of the bike. If you've watched my recently released Core 5 video, you'll note that the Core 5 does not come with a front headlight, but the 500 series does. It's not going to give you any significant light at night as far as seeing in front of you, but it definitely will allow people to see you better, which is a benefit. If you are riding at night, I do recommend a high quality, brand name, secondary, rechargeable handlebar light. Many of them also have a flashing function, which is also great for daylight visibility. We use one from Planet Bike on our Ride1Up Limited, and it is fantastic. Moving on to the brakes, you have Tektro Aries mechanical brakes, which are actually quite common on affordable electric bikes. They are 160mm rotors, and in my experience get the job done just fine. One of the benefits of moving up to the 500 series compared to the Core 5 is this suspension fork. It doesn't have a lockout, but will certainly smooth your ride. This is the gold step-through option, which means there are a few gold Ride1Up accents here, as well as at the front here. And then instead of the black grips that come with the other 500 series, you get brown grips, which add a nice contrast, and then you also have the nice brown seat. Moving into the cockpit, this is the same display that comes on the Core 5. It's very simple, black and white LCD. Of course it has odometer, max speed, average speed, current speed, trip, time, and odometer. But what I really like is that it still shows the wattage. I like to keep an eye on how many watts I'm pushing to the motor, just to ensure I'm not pushing the motor too hard for too long. This is a 500 watt nominal and 800 watt peak motor. If you do want a slightly nicer looking display, you can upgrade. Ride1Up sells this option for $60 and this one for $80. In my opinion, since this display functions how I want it to and has all the features, I don't see any reason to upgrade, as it increases the price a fair bit. Another nice thing about the 500 series compared to the Core 5 is this adjustable stem. It gives you some adjustability to make your riding position as upright as you like. All the step-through variations that Ride1Up sells have these swept back bars. This is an 8-speed Shimano Acera shifter, which I prefer a little bit more than the Shimano Tourney shifter found on the Core 5. It's more of a trigger shifter, which just feels a little bit nicer, though when we ride our e-bikes we aren't adjusting gears very often. And then on the left you have this very common thumb throttle. On the 500 series you have a 13 amp hour battery using Rienshin Dorado Plus. For those not familiar, Rienshin makes these standardized battery cases, so you'll see these on many electric bikes. It actually has this handle, which I haven't seen before. That's a nice feature since the battery comes out at a bit of an angle. Another slight upgrade compared to the Core 5 are these Walgo pedals. These are very common on many electric bikes. They get the job done, but if you want better grip and perhaps want to customize the look of your bike, they are a fun and easy upgrade. Here we have the bottle cage bosses, and there's plenty of space with the frame reinforcement, so I don't foresee any clearance issues when removing the battery. Here's another one of those gold accents, and they have moved the kickstand completely out of the way of the pedals, which is always nice. The 500 series has the same motor as the Core 5 as well as the 700 series. While I know many people opt to upgrade their seat, I did find this seat on the 500 series, slightly more comfortable than the Core 5. For what it's worth, it does say Royale Gel on the seat, which is probably why it's slightly more comfortable. Moving on to the rear derailleur, this is Shimano Alivio, which technically ranks as the highest entry-level group set, though to be honest, I haven't been able to discern, at least feel-wise, from this compared to, say, Altus or Acera. There's a chain guard on one side, but no chain guide on both sides. And if you're looking for more comfort, of course, you can upgrade to a suspension seat post. The seat post I received is 28.6 millimeters. Be sure to check your own seat post on your 500 series or check with Ride1Up directly to confirm. These are Kenda Quick 7.5 tires, 27.5 by 2.2 inches, definitely set up for city riding. A nice touch is that Ride1Up has been including this plastic tape chain guard to protect your frame. Sometimes it is nice to have extra on hand, as I like to put this anywhere where cables rub against the frame, especially near the head tube. And one more thing before we get to the riding footage, the brake levers on the 500 series are just slightly nicer than the Core 5. They have a nice grip to them. I also forgot to mention that the 500 series does have brake inhibitors, so as soon as you press either brake, it is going to immediately cut off power to the motor. So now let's get to the riding footage. Alright, here's the hill climbing footage. And this is the same hill that the lmt'd did, about 14 miles per hour up with 0 pedaling. So right now we're going about 15, 17, 16, 15, 14, 10, 9, start pedaling just a little bit. 8, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13. The 500 series is a Class 3 e-bike capable of speeds up to 28 miles per hour with its 500 watt sustained and 800 watt peak motor. It has 56 newton meters of torque, and as I mentioned earlier, it is the same motor found on the Core 5 and the 700 series. With some effort, I was able to get it to 28 miles per hour when I put the motor to the test in my Core 5 review. Check that out if you're interested. The 13 amp hour battery is good for 25 to 45 miles of range according to Ride1Up, which is pretty accurate based on my experience with e-bikes. The battery protrudes slightly from the frame, unlike the Core 5, lmt'd, and the 700 series, so if you want a cleaner look, then those other e-bikes are definitely an option. The Core 5, at least the Step-thru variation, without a doubt feels like a smaller bike, so if you're on the shorter side and you think size might be an issue, that's probably the route I'd go. My mom, who is 5'5" and in her 60s, for instance, felt much more comfortable on the Core 5 Step-thru than the 500 series Step-thru due to this smaller size. In my unscientific weigh-in, the 500 series Step-thru weighed in at 60 pounds and the Core 5 came in at 51 pounds. In my opinion, there's a pretty strong case for spending the extra $100 more for the 500 series compared to the Core 5. You get the front suspension, larger battery, 13 amp hour versus the 10.4 amp hour battery, and not to mention all the other minor improvements that I talked about. Pedals, brake levers, gel seat, adjustable stem, quick release front skewer, and improved shifter. Going up from there is a bit of a stretch, as the 700 series is $300 more or $220 more if you plan to get the rack and fenders, since the 700 series includes these accessories. With the 700 series, you get a lockout on the suspension, an integrated rear light color display, slightly larger battery at 14 amp hours, but perhaps the most noticeable difference will be the hydraulic disc brakes. I always lean towards people new to e-bikes starting with something more affordable in case they find riding an e-bike isn't for them, but to each their own. From there, you can go up to the limited at $17.95, though I've covered that e-bike pretty extensively on this channel already, so check out those videos if you're interested. Back to the 500 series. On any step-through frame, you lose some rigidity, though with that downside, the bike becomes accessible to more people. I really like the decision to include swept-back bars on all of their step-through variations. Couple this with the adjustable stem that comes on the 500 series, and you can have a very upright riding style if you choose. If you really want to step up the comfort, then I recommend a suspension seat post. Check out my video on one I really like. I didn't mention this in my review of the Core 5, but when you're looking at e-bikes, be sure to check out the prices for spare batteries. While as of posting, Ride1Up didn't have the batteries that fit the 500 series in stock. The 13 amp hour battery is $299 and the large 17.5 amp hour battery is $429. It would be nice if Ride1Up offered the 17.5 amp hour battery as an option from the get-go. Even still, it's good to have it as an option. The 500 series looks nice, and the contrasting seat and grips with the gold color option make it look like a much more expensive e-bike. After trying out all but the 700 series and the Roadster V2, it's hard not to recommend the 500 series for its tremendous value. Especially for those new to e-bikes, the 500 series proves that you don't need to spend a lot to get a lot of great features in an e-bike. For those that are already familiar with bike components or e-bikes, I could certainly see the desire to pay more for some of these nice-to-haves, but these luxuries come at a cost. Either way, I can't imagine someone being disappointed with the 500 series, and there are few options at this price point. On top of that, you have Ride1Up support, which in my experience is very responsive for being a smaller company. Check out their Facebook group, linked in the description, if you want to hear from other owners. I hope you found this review helpful. Again, if you're looking to purchase a Ride1Up e-bike, please consider supporting my channel by using the link in the description before you buy. I will also link my e-bike deals page and my extremely popular electric bike accessories list. Let me know what you think about the 500 series step-through in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.